Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Deborah and it's finally time. We can do the October TBR. So it's October and in honor of the season, I'm gonna start this TBR with a horror novel, Pet Semetary by Stephen King. I've never read any of Stephen King's novels before and I'm very new to the horror genre as well, so this is my first try. Everyone told me if you want to start reading King, you have to start with Pet Semetary. This is the best choice. And honestly, it's not very long either, but I don't know. I'm gonna be trying it because this book has been on my TBR forever and I always wanted to read it, but I don't know if I can handle it, if it's too sad, if it's too scary. I have no idea. So Pet Semetary was published in 1983. It's 395 pages and has a rating of 4.05, I think, on Goodreads. I don't know much about the plot of this book. I know it's about a family called the Creeds who moved to this rural place in Maine. You know, physician father, beautiful wife, they have a little daughter and I think an infant son. So they have everything and everything seems too good to be true. But there's this place nearby, there's this woods, and it has this blood-chilling secret. I think it has this cemetery, as the title suggests. There's this pet cemetery there and something's wrong. I don't know what, but they're supposed to be figuring out in this book that sometimes dead is better. I know this is a very important book to King himself and this means a lot, so I don't know. I'm really having high hopes for this. I hope I can handle it because I've never read anything like this before. I hope it's not too scary. But yeah, fingers crossed. We're gonna see how I'm gonna feel about Stephen King. I hope this is a good choice for a first novel, for a first try at Stephen King. I hope. The next one on my TBR is something witchy because this time of year I always crave to read something with witches involved, and honestly I always wanted to read something about witches, but this time of year more than usual. I chose A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. Now, I had these three books on my TBR, on my physical TBR for years. They looked pretty and it was about witches, so I immediately bought them when I saw them. But I don't know about the story of this book. I don't know if it's going to be interesting. I really hope it is because it looks very, very good. But unfortunately, when I looked it up on Goodreads, people either loved this book or hated it. This is one of those books, apparently. So this was published in 2011. It has 579 pages and has a rating of 4.02 on Goodreads. The rating is not so bad and so many people have actually read this book, but I don't know what it is about this book that some people really hate it so much. I don't know. I read the first chapter and I thought it was alright, so I might like it too. This is about a centuries-old vampire, a spellbound witch, and this mysterious manuscript that's supposed to draw them together. That's all I know about this book. I know there's a library and I know there are witches. That's all I needed to be interested in this book. I didn't know, honestly, I didn't know about the vampire bit. I had no idea there's a vampire involved in this, but apparently there is, and I'm hoping I would like this book because I already do have all three books and it would be a disappointment, but it looks so pretty and I don't know. The first chapter was good. The third book on my TBR for October is Wundersmith, the book 2 in Nevermore series written by Jessica Townsend. Now, I know I was supposed to read this one in September, but because I watched the live action for One Piece and I was somehow obsessed and I couldn't stop myself, I spent so much of my time, doing everything One Piece. And yeah, I messed up my TBR. So that happened. So I'm gonna be reading Wundersmith this month in October. And actually that's kind of perfect because something about the Nevermore books fits the season so well. And she's gonna go to school and I actually love that a lot. Wundersmith was published in 2018. It's 467 pages and it has a rating of 4.49 on Goodreads, which is very high. No surprise because I really loved the first one. I gave it 5 stars. This one too, I hope will be a 5-star because people told me the books in the series gets better and better as you read more. I already read a little bit of the story and it's so good. So yeah, I'm actually kind of secretly happy that I have it for October because it fits the season so well. Oh, and I should tell you what this is about. The whole story is about this 11-year-old kid, Morrigan, which in the second book, she's 12 years old, actually. She's cursed because she was born on the unluckiest day of the year, on Eventide. And she's cursed to die at her 11th birthday. That's where the story starts in the first book. This is not a spoiler because it's told in the description, but Morrigan escapes death on her 11th birthday and goes to this magical world called Nevermore. Now, once Morrigan is in Nevermore, she's supposed to face these challenges and trials to get to a society called Wunder Society, you know, to get to stay in Nevermore. That's how the story starts, and it gets better and better. It's really good. So if you're into middle grade, I really recommend this one. I've been really enjoying the first book, and a little bit I read from the second book. It's been so good. I'm really looking forward to reading the second book. Fourth on the list is the epic fantasy, of course. We have The Dragon Reborn, the book 3 in the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. I'm going to be reading it this month. It's getting so good. I can't tell you much about it because it's the third book. What am I going to say without spoiling it? But I can tell you this. It was published in 1991. It's 624 pages and has a rating of 4.27 on Goodreads. Now, this is all I can tell you, so I'm sorry in advance, but the story is about this chosen guy who's supposed to face the Dark One, save the world, or destroy the world in the process. That's all I can tell you. This is an epic fantasy in an epic world with so many characters. The story is big. The story feels so epic and so good. I can't recommend it anymore. If you're into epic fantasy, this is really good. I really like that the story is so long. And at this point, I already read 2 books, but at this point, I'm only starting to get my footing and, you know, get my balance in the world of Wheel of Time. And it's starting to feel really good. In all honesty, the Wheel of Time series is such a big commitment, but I'm actually very happy that I started it because the sooner you start, the better, because 14 books and books this thick, it's gonna take a long time. I mean, if I finish it in a year, I'd be very happy. But no regrets. It's so good. And it's just starting to get so much better because I understand more about this world. It's just starting to, you know. The next book on the list is Artificial Condition, Book 2 in the Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells. I know I'm reading way too many series at this point because, yeah, I can't help myself. I naturally grab series before I finish the one I started earlier. I just do that uncontrollably. I can't help it. So Artificial Condition came out in 2018. It's 158 pages, which, thank God, I actually have a small book in my TBR. And it has a rating of 4.28 on Goodreads. So I read the first book in the Murderbot Diaries last month in September, and I really loved it. It was at first a bit hard for me to read sci-fi because that's also a new genre for me. But I really enjoyed myself, and I will be continuing the rest of the Murderbot Diaries books. But what can I tell you about it? This is about the story of the Murderbot Diaries happens in this corporate-dominated spacefaring future where groups of scientists go on these missions to explore, you know, new planets, new places, and the company actually provides them with security units. So our sec unit has hacked its own governor module, and it's a free agent now, and it calls itself secretly Murderbot. After the events of the first book are, you know, resolved, we're gonna follow Murderbot as it's trying to figure out what happened in its past. There's a specific charm about Murderbot. I actually like the story a lot because even though I don't read sci-fi, it's not easy for me to read sci-fi. Even the language is a bit tough for me, but the personality of Murderbot actually kind of draws you in, and it gets you interested and it gets you invested in what's gonna happen to this sec unit. As a sci-fi newbie, I'm really enjoying my time with Murderbot. These are very short, these are very readable, and if you're also new to the genre, I've been told these are really good for beginners. And yeah, it works. Last on the list, you might know it already, it's the manga One Piece. I'll be continuing from volume 15 in October. I don't know how many volumes I'm going to be reading because whenever I pick it up, I tell myself, you're going to read 1 chapter and then put it aside. But the next thing I know, I finished the whole volume. So I don't know how many volumes I'm going to be reading in October. I have to control myself because my October TBR has chunky books in it, you know. I have pretty big commitments this month, but I think I'm going to be reading 5 or 6 volumes. Yeah, I can't promise. I don't know how many volumes I'm going to be reading, but I'll try to keep it around 5 volumes for the whole month. I really wanted to put Ninth House in this month's TBR, but I don't think I can manage it, so I'm not going to do it. I also wanted to read The House of Salt and Sorrows, which again, I may not get to it, so it's not in my TBR. 6 titles, I think, is going to be enough of a commitment for me in October. So these are the books I'm going to be hopefully reading and finishing in the month of October. Tell me in the comments if you read any of these books or if you have more recommendations for me. I'd appreciate that. As always, thank you for watching today's video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!